What it do? What's going on with you? Hope my people out there is okay, man. It's your boy Alex J. Finally back, man. Finally back. We got the 2025-26 NFL season kicking off this Thursday. Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. They say they haven't played that matchup kicking off on week 1 at Philly's house in over, I think since 78 or 88. It was one of those 2 years I heard getting talked about on ESPN this morning. So that's going to be a pretty good, solid matchup, man. I know I'm just jumping straight into it with this one, man, but we got to go ahead and get into it because it's just been so long since I done kept my word and kept been consistent with these videos. But now that I'm going to have a full 18 weeks of non-stop content to talk about, we about to go ahead and get into it. So bear with me. I'm going off the top for this one, but I'm going to talk about my Pittsburgh Steelers a little bit just up front. So obviously, if you haven't been under a rock, you know that we got Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf. We out with the old, in with the new, getting rid of I wouldn't say letting go of Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, but also at the same time, we didn't care to sign either one of those guys back, at least for not as much as they wanted us to sign them for. Hence, Justin Fields wanting that extra, I think, 10 a year, and he went over to the Jets and he got it, but he really wanted to know that he was going to be a team starter and things like that. And I wanted us to keep Justin Fields. I believed in Justin Fields. I thought that he could, take his game to the next level. But when I go back, and last year he had solid numbers for the games that he did get to start. But if I'm just being totally honest with myself, he didn't, just necessarily, snatch the job and make it to where it was a discussion to where they didn't need to even still think as if they wanted Russell Wilson in there. But I look at that Cowboys game that, we lost last year with him. He went 4-2 with us, the Colts game and then that Cowboys game. Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence didn't play in that game. And whenever you just add context to it, man, he didn't, he played well enough to, stay in the starting role. But like Mike Tomlin said, he played good but not great. And we don't want to confuse those two things. So I can understand. But then, Russell Wilson gets in and we end up giving the keys to him. And he has some good games for the most part. Washington, Jets game, the Giants game. He had some good games. But when it came down the stretch, he, underperformed. Playoff game, fumbling on the 8-yard, 5-yard line, something like that. We was in the red zone, when he fumbled. We was within 10 yards of scoring. I could have sworn he fumbled on the 8-yard line. And then, just the Bengals game. Just not, really with him, being a veteran and just having as much experience and stuff as he had, It's tough, whenever it's tough, but they say every dog has his day, and we could clearly kind of see that with Russell Wilson towards the end of last year. It is what it is, but then even guys like George Pickens, he's not here anymore. He's a Dallas Cowboy now. We got a 3rd round pick for him after the draft. I thought we should have probably did it before. We could have ended up with somebody like Matthew Golden and be replacing him, but I'm cool with our squad that we have right now. But at times last year, him always being a distraction and then even dropping passes in games, dropped some big passes in that Bengals game, Week 18. And, he was always good and solid for us to have, man, but not worth – the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, that we was getting. With those years that Antonio Brown was here, he was always, leading the league, in receptions and yards consecutively for years. So George wasn't really doing any of that. I know Antonio Brown, I keep saying, context is always very important because Antonio Brown had Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Fame quarterback that could get on the ball, consistently. We had a lot better of a offensive coordinator at that time. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Like I said, to start this soliloquy that I have went on for this last 2.5 minutes. Out with the old, in with the new. I'm happy with this team that we have this year. From Aaron Rodgers, we got Jalen Ramsey. It sucks because it was addition by subtraction. We don't have Minkah Fitzpatrick no more. We basically swapped them. and got Jonnu Smith along with that deal. You know, did some different things in the contracts, and those numbers got played with a little bit. So that was really why that deal got done. Ramsey wanted to go somewhere where he knew it was going to be a winning culture. He would still have a chance to win, a team that was going to be trying to contend. So can't be, you know, with that. Got to be happy about that. Got to be happy about that. The preseason game against the Panthers this year that we played just a couple of weeks ago, Ramsey's in on like the first drive, and he ends up tackling ETN to the ground, kind of throws him to the ground at the end of the play. The play was over with when he threw him to the ground. But just seeing that toughness and that physicality that he wants to bring our team, I'm loving that. Loving it. Especially when we got guys like Derrick Henry rushing for 200 yards on us in a playoff game. It's almost just like that toughness of the Steelers has been gone, and it's great to have somebody that, especially a DB, because we in the trenches, you know, we solid in the trenches, you know, still having Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, you know, Patrick Queen, you know, playing linebacker for us. It's great, you know. But as far as like our DBs, for him to bring that to the deep defensive back room this season, I'm loving it, man. I ain't worried age or whatever, man. He's a proven, you know, NFL vet, so I'm happy to have him, you know, added to the squad this year. Just going off top a little bit more, Derek Harmon. They saying for this week 1, because today is Tuesday. We just got out of Labor Day. I hope everybody had a good weekend this past weekend. Chill with family. I threw some stuff on the grill myself. I had a good weekend. Happy birthday to my boy BB. He just had a birthday. Love you, bro. But like I said, Derek Harmon had a solid preseason. And, you know, us adding him with our first round pick this year in the draft, getting Yahya Black later on in the draft, who I think was probably a steal in those later rounds. This is definitely going to be a season that the Steelers is trying to go all the way, just with all the additions that we've had since free agency, the guys that we let go. Najee Harris, let him go. You know, we got this other guy, Caleb Johnson, almost boy. Got a lot of promise. I'll just be honest. I don't think he had kind of the preseason that I was expecting for him to have. But whenever that chemistry is developed more with those guys like Broderick Jones, Isaac Seumalo, he didn't play at all in the preseason. Troy Fautanu, you know, getting back to being acclimated with the offense, seeing as how he had to sit out all of last year. Basically, I think he played in one game last year, but it wasn't the Texans. He played in a game last year, and I know he ended up getting hurt at practice and was out for the rest of the season. Him, you know what I'm saying, them just trying to find that chemistry and blocking for each other and playing together, I think is definitely going to come. But I definitely think we're going to see more of big explosive runs coming from Caleb Johnson whenever that finally does happen. I like the fact that we just extended Jaylen Warren. Whenever I think about guys like Jaylen Warren, and I think about that time George Pickens didn't block for him in that Colts game 2 years ago, and at the end of the game, you know, Jaylen Warren said, I would have blocked for him. I could have sworn the very next game, played the Bengals, and Calvin Austin gets a jet sweep going up to the left side, and Jaylen Warren put down, I'm talking about a boomstick block to one of those defenders. And seeing as how he's always done that, he's had, I'm gonna knock on wood after I say this, seeing as how he's had a little bit of a fumbling issue, and I'll say that very quietly because he hasn't always had it, but seeing as how he's had that, he hasn't had any character issues, anything like that, and we know he's a team first guy, man. Happy they gave that brother his money. Glad to see his family get that generational wealth. Happy he got what he deserved, man, because he's definitely been a hard worker. Definitely is a Steeler. Definitely is team first guy and can ball. And we need guys like that on the squad. Guys like that. You don't find guys like that, you know, guys that are undrafted free agents that you keep on the squad. They end up making a roster spot. Stay with your squad. Good character, good on the field, not really ever hurt, and then they end up getting a second contract, man. You know, you got to always tip your cap to the front office for, you know, seeing that, letting him hop on, and then seeing the value in that player. So That's a great thing to have to. That is always a great thing and a great factor to have to your team. Without me staying on the Steelers too long, I want to talk about a couple of things real quick. I want to talk about Caleb Williams, the Dallas Cowboys, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, the Dallas Cowboys, and then just anything else I can just think of off the top of my head real quick. But with the way the media portrays Caleb Williams to have had this, with the way the media portrays him to have had the kind of season that he had last year, Caleb Williams threw 20 touchdowns and like a single digit number of interceptions. I think it's 6 or 9 interceptions, one of the two. He had a pretty solid year for a rookie. And then Chicago went down the deep end, it seemed like, after they played the Commanders. But as far as like just looking at his numbers, and he probably missed some throws, and you expect that coming from a rookie. I think he had a solid year last year. And seeing as the way he's come out and played in these preseason games just here recently, man, he came out firing. I wrote it down on who they played. He came out firing, and I respected it because, man, he ended up connecting with their first round tight end that come out of Michigan, Colston Loveland. He ended up connecting with him a couple of times. Zacchaeus is how you say his name. He got another receiver named Zacchaeus that actually looks pretty nice. Still got Rome Odunze going in his second year. So he got a speedster out of, I think, he played for, I think it's Missouri. His name is Luther Burden. I got to go fact check that again. Like I said, I'm coming off the top. This is really off the top. I got a few notes written down, but for the most part, this is straight off the top. Like I said, they done put a good squad around him, and then they went and revamped the offensive line this offseason in free agency. That was the first thing they did, is they went and revamped that offensive line and got him some new linemen, especially right there in the interior. So he shouldn't be taking all those crazy sacks. And then also with them getting Ben Johnson as their head coach, he gonna be calling their plays. This is a big year for both of them. Because this is show that Caleb Williams, if he can take that next step into being a quarterback, especially, they always go hold him on that fact of him being the first overall pick. They always go hold that. And then him highly recruited, Heisman Trophy winning guy. Yeah, they always go hold that stuff against him because he does have the talent. But they also go hold Ben Johnson on the fact that they want to see if he can develop and get Caleb Williams to push his game to the next step in that next level of his game. And Ben Johnson, it's a win-win for him because if he does show that he can do that and he pushes Caleb Williams to the next step and gets him there, he got a quarterback that he gonna have for possibly the next 10 to 12 years. And then he been and showed that he can be a head coach. He's not just the offensive coordinator. If his team can be winning and his quarterback's playing good, he can be a head coach and he can be an offensive coordinator. So that would be great for them. My phone almost died. Jaden Daniels, if he can, take his game up from taking his team last year to the NFC Championship game, winning Rookie of the Year, balling out like he did last year, take his game to the next. Don't let it just be like, oh, he had a great rookie season. We've seen other quarterbacks do that. Mark Sanchez, Jameis Winston, we've seen other quarterbacks do that. You know what I'm saying? J.J. McCarthy. Like I said, I'm running off the top right now, basically freestyling. R.P. Lil Snoop. J.J. McCarthy, all of the hype around that kid, I ain't gonna say necessarily just hype, but they swearing up and down that they know who they got. They let go of Sam Darnold, and they like, hey, this guy is, they swear up and down that the Vikings, Minnesota, they swear up and down that he's gonna be great. And my boy Roman, if you see this, trust me, I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna let you know, hey man, we're watching your boy, because they swear up and down that he's good. And trust and believe, I'm here to see it. I'm here to see it, man. I'm here to see it. Bo Nix, take that game to the next level. Sean Payton, but he played pretty good last year, man. I like Bo Nix's game. So those 4 quarterbacks right there going into their second years being in the NFL, J.J. McCarthy, I'll give J.J. McCarthy this. He didn't play at all last year, so I don't want to just necessarily judge him like as if he got to play all of these games. You know what I mean? Especially, I think I don't know exactly how many years McCarthy started at Michigan, but you know we know he won a national championship there. Michael Penix. I'm not trying to just bring it up, but it's so many second year quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix. That's 5 guys right there, just off the top of my head. That hey, they want to see what y'all, if you guys can take that next step, because all of those guys had pretty solid rookie campaigns, except McCarthy because of some fact he got hurt in the preseason of last year and he was out the whole year. And like I say, with all 5 of them, these franchises want to see if they found their guy. They want to see if they found their guy, especially seeing as how they know Arch Manning and Drew Aller and some of these other quarterbacks. Ohio State's Sayin, I like a boy's last name. He is looking nice, even though he's just a sophomore right now. Redshirt sophomore, finally starting. It's gonna be some boy Nussmeier coming out of LSU, Cade Kublik, Clemson. They want to make sure that they got their guys so they don't end up missing out on one of those guys again. But like I say, with McCarthy, he got to get those reps, man, because we seeing how much Anthony Richardson is struggling with the Colts going into his 3rd year. But they sabotaged that by not letting that man sit on the bench and learn, man. If they knew that he was a project coming out the way and coming out of college the way he was, as raw as he was, they should have sat that man on the bench and let him learn, man. Like, it is true. That saying is true. More quarterbacks are ruined than made in the NFL. That is 100% true. Just because of some fact that we've seen these type of things happen so many different times, and just, yeah, it is what it is. But hey, my Steelers, we got Will Howard. He looks like he go be on the squad this year, 4th quarterback, and that's another national championship winning quarterback. If we can have him pan out to be something pretty solid, boy, that'd be crazy. It's just because of the simple fact we got him in the 5th round. Man, that would be great. The last topic I want to talk on today. Thursday's game is going to be the Cowboys and the Eagles going to Philadelphia, and I think the Eagles is going to take that game. It'll be 24 Cowboys, 31 Eagles, something like that. It'll be a few field goals in that game, that I think it's Elliott put up for the Eagles. That'll be kind of clutch for them. That's going to kind of give them that hump to win that game. Just in my all honesty. Cowboys go, do some things too, but I just see the Eagles ended up getting that just because of some fact that them not keeping Parsons on their squad they took 2 steps forward with getting George Pickens, but they took 5 steps back by letting Micah Parsons go. You asking me, because of some fact, I just look at it like this. Just in a quick thing, real quick, I lied. I got another topic I want to talk about, and that's going to be the last one. Okay, Micah Parsons missed 6 games last year. Yeah, like I said, Justin Fields, that Cowboys game last year, Micah Parsons didn't play in that game, and then he struggled. DeMarcus Lawrence didn't play in that game, and Justin Fields struggled. So if they really would have played in that game, I think he would have struggled just even more. So that's why I can understand why the Steelers wanted to go get somebody like Aaron Rodgers, who they think had a little bit more left in the tank. But like I said, I think that they took 5 steps back by not making sure that they got that man signed, because them grabbing George Pickens is going to open it up for George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And then they still got Ferguson, who's a straight up solid tight end. And they got, I can't think of his name. I'll butcher his name but I know they got the Broncos all running back. And he just played for them the last few years. He's still pretty young himself. Is it Williams? But with them adding Pickens, I see those drives going a little bit longer. Ain't going to be too many, 3 and outs, just because of the simple fact that defenses know that they going to have to Pickens on this side, Lamb on that side. Pickens been playing in Pittsburgh, not as big as a market as Dallas is. So I don't think people know that George Pickens is as good as he is. I've seen him make some crazy catches. He's good. That's why last year that we was able to rock with just going to get a Mike Williams, who I think actually just retired. I gotta check that, but I think he just retired from the Chargers. He went back over there, and they had drafted him. He had some wonderful years when he first got to the league with them, and I think he went back over there just to retire. But that was why they thought we could make it with Pickens, Freiermuth, and Najee Harris, and Jaylen Warren, and because Pickens is nice. Pickens is nice, but. Yeah, we go see, but I really think the Cowboys should have kept Parsons. We go see, man, because I don't. Them rushing the quarterback, man. You gotta have them both, man. You gotta have a quarterback and a guy that can rush the quarterback. We just go see what they go do, but I don't think that was smart of Jerry Jones and them not to keep Parsons around, because if Pickens and Dak and Lamb can keep drives going, let's go give the defense more time to rest. So Micah Parsons ain't gonna be on the field all the damn time. Is my point. Now, the last topic I want to touch on, man. So everybody knows that the main topic of discussion this preseason was Shedeur Sanders for the Cleveland Browns. And, man, I said it. I knew it. And I said it. After the draft was all the way said and done, and I took Dylan Gabriel in the third and ended up taking Shedeur in the fifth, I said that Kenny Pickett was going to be the guy that, if those rookies played well enough in the preseason and the Browns thought Kenny, let me just put it like this, man. Unless Kenny just really goes and, unless Kenny Pickett, just because him being a first-round talent, obviously there was something that those scouts seen in him that made him have a first-round grade, at least that year for the quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, the last quarterback in that draft, the last person taken, turned out to be the basically the best person taken. Almost got to a Super Bowl, ended up getting hurt. I could have sworn in the NFC the divisional round. They end up losing that NFC Championship game with Josh Johnson, and then end up taking his team to a Super Bowl, and they lost the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy turned out to be pretty good. He's got a big payday this offseason from the 49ers, but Kenny Pickett, for him to end up being a good player in this league, because he still has a chance. Especially him being a quarterback. He just got traded from the Browns to the Raiders. For Kenny Pickett to end up being a good quarterback in his league, he's going to have to learn how to push the ball down the field just a little more, not just a little bit more, and be able to pick apart defenses. Because as far as the athleticism goes, man, I think he's at his peak right now, and he's already older. Like, he wasn't a young rookie when he got drafted. He was like 24. So I think with him in the league, and this is just me trying to get into Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel, the Browns quarterback room, I think him, just like I said, like Kenny's, like, right now, like, I think he's already touched his ceiling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where Dylan Gabriel for sure. I wish we could have seen Shedeur go up against those other teams in the, but we did get to see him. But he was out there with a lot. Every guy that Shedeur was out there with, whenever they in that second preseason game, I think they was playing the Rams. Every guy that he was out there with on the offense got cut. So, like I done said a few times in this video, context matters. You got to give the context, bro, because they ain't going to try to say, oh, look at the stat sheet. He played horrible. I think he took 2 picks in that game. But I wish he could have played with more some of those third and second stringers, because we could have, from that first game Shedeur played in, man, he was dotting them up. And he threw some passes that got away from him at times, but there was a bunch of them where he was dotting them up. And I was like, man, this is exactly why I think he going to be all right. But then Dylan Gabriel gets in that second game where Shedeur doesn't play. And Gabriel played. I watched that game. He played pretty well. He played pretty good. So, in this season, Flacco, he can't take too many, shots, because if he take too many shots and one of the rookies getting there and Dylan Gabriel getting there and start balling out, then, but Dylan Gabriel has a injury history and he's a little bit undersized, so he's smaller than Shedeur. So if Shedeur gets, like I said, I think Kenny Pickett's ceiling is here, but I also think Dylan Gabriel's floor is about here. And also I think Shedeur's floor is right about here. Shedeur ain't too far behind Gabriel. You know what I'm saying? And then Flacco's ceiling is probably about right here, So we got Flacco's ceiling, Pickett's ceiling, Gabriel's floor and then Shador's floor. Bro, them Browns, they said, yeah, and then the way they played, they like, man, they going to end up surpassing him sooner or later. So they went ahead and cut ties with Pickett and bring in Shador and Gabriel, and they rocking with them. So that's kind of, they're rocking with Flacco, Gabriel, and Shador. That's their exact quarterback depth chart. That's their depth chart right now. So this is definitely going to be a fun season. There's definitely going to be a lot of storylines in it. Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. It's wild. Kyle Trask is still over. I know these are things that don't matter, but some of these things are just kind of wild to me. Kyle Trask is still over with the Buccaneers, but hey, he's probably a really good locker room guy, good practice guy. These are some wild things. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a fun season, man. I pray that I get to see all of it and enjoy all of it, and that hopefully my team be hosting a Lombardi trophy at the end of it. But, man, if you done made it to this point in the video, I appreciate it. God bless you, man. I pray your team has a good, healthy season. I pray mine does too. And we'll be back Friday for our, reaction to the Cowboys and Eagles. I'll catch y'all in the next one. I appreciate y'all walking with your boy. Peace.